Buymageddon? Well, not quite. We'll talk about it next. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green. We start right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. Cause it's always coming through. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And we're gonna always bring it to you live streaming. So get ready. Get ready, cause here they come.
All right, ready right now for a little fantasy football. It's our live Friday show. The Manchild along with Boy Green. What's up, Paul? How are you today?
God, I love that. I love the trail we have, the beat. It's always getting me head banging and ready to run through a wall.
I told you for a long time. I mean, we're sitting here for the first few months of our digital experience without a show open. I was like, we got to get a show open. And we had to put some things together in order to get it done. And we probably would have had it done for day one because we've had theme songs over the years for our shows. And we've always had at least a music bed or something to start the show off to get us energized. So that's a lot of fun. Our sponsor today is our friends at Crest Cadillac. We'll tell you a little bit more about our friends at Crest Cadillac and all the wonderful products that they have. But let's bring him in. He's our fantasy insider. We talk to him every single Friday live here. We take your questions, get in the comments, and deliver them right now if you want. It's the one, the only, from RotoWire, Joe Bartel. Hello, Joseph. How are you?
Hey, thumbs up, at least on the intro. We talked about that last week too. I'm not even like a part of it all, and it gets me pumped too. Fantastic job by the musician to put that together. I like you guys' little hunched walking as well too. It's very cutesy. This is perfect. It gets me going too.
I think version 2, I said this yesterday. Sorry, I said this to one of our other insiders last week. I think version 2, when we adapted it, maybe 6 months or a year out from now. But version 2, I think we're going to take some of our insiders, like yourself, turn you into caricatures, and have you like running through the screen, like with a fantasy jersey on or something that says RotoWire, and Ed Valentine with like some kind of crazy Giants thing. He always picks on me for this red Giants hat, so we'll make sure that he has a blue Giants hat on his video. So yeah, we might get you guys in.
Perfect,
I'm kind of feeling like round 2, we could go a little bit further than we went in round 1. Go ahead, PG. I'm sorry.
No, you were saying exactly what I was going to say. I was going to be like, Joe, don't worry. There's future versions where we can, immortalize you in emoji cartoon caricature form forever that we can enjoy for 30 some odd seconds every single day that we do the show. So it could be possible.
All right.
We got to work on the NIL business, the name, image, and likeness for Joe Bartel. And
yeah.
Value is probably locked away in the RotoWire vault.
It's a very hot commodity these days.
I imagine.
Yes. There will be financial stipulations that we'll have to have, like a penny per time that's played. But yeah, something along that. That might be too expensive for me too. We'll have to see.
No. We've had some amazing contributors going all the way back to the radio days, so we certainly would love to give you guys a little bit of kudos for all the work that you guys do for us each and every week. So we cherish having you every week, Joe, despite all the arguments and everything that we do with you. We do love you. We really do love you. All right, so let's talk fantasy football, and let's start with the trade deadline, and then we'll get to last night's game, because there were some significant trades, obviously Boy Green's Jets in the middle of a lot of them, that moved some players and could either enhance value of players left behind, advance the value of the actual player that was traded, or maybe decrease the value of some players that are on the teams where these traded players arrived. So let's break it all down and let's talk about the trades that happen and which ones you think will have genuine fantasy impact.
Yeah, I don't know. It was more boring last night's game or the trade deadline itself, because that was supposed to be, I think, a lot more fireworks. We had rumored about Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Breece Hall, which we'll get to in a second here. And really all we ended up getting was 2, I would call them fantasy wide receiver 3s, moving to arguably worse situations. Boy Green, I typically actually tune in at least on some of your debriefings of the Jets, because I like to see your misery. It makes me happy every once in a while. I have unfortunately missed out on what I have to imagine was the reckoning of both Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. So before I get into my spiel about what happened on the trade deadline, I'm actually kind of curious, how did you feel like things went? Because I have my thoughts and I don't want to disrupt them or necessarily agree or encourage. Where are you at with what the Jets did at the deadline?
So I'll give this a long story short. I'll do a fast forwarded version. So on trade deadline day, I do a lot of work for Heavy. Shout out to Heavy in my podcast. So I always have to be around my computer phone, like at all times. At any moment, they could say, "Paul, boom, yeah, okay, I'm in." But my daughter, who turns 4 in January, does virtual speech on this computer. This is the only computer in the house. So they asked, hey, what's a good time to do it? I'm like, oh, a trade deadline day.
Yeah,
Something could go down. I don't know what it could be, but it could. So they said, we need your computer, my daughter, the mother, and then for like uninterrupted, like 40 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I said, I don't know if there's a perfect time for this. They're like, we'll go at 12:30.
Oh,
10 minutes in, boom, my phone blows up. Sauce gets straight. And I'm with my son. He's asleep. He just turned 1 this week, and he's asleep. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do anything. I'm in a trampoline with a bunch of balloons. I'm just going. So I'm like, what better way? I've got my phone on me, so I quietly react to the Sauce Gardner.
It's a whispering short, Joe. It's hilarious.
I think it's actually great. Yeah. Okay, keep going. Yep.
And I get whispering, and I'm sorry because my son is this and this. But I'm like, what the F? And there's a lot of expletives. I normally don't swear, but there was a lot of expletives in there. And to be honest, it's gut wrenching. So if you enjoy that sort of content,
I might actually have to click in this. You're selling me on this. Yes.
I'm not gonna have to share this to OnlyFans instead. So I really get my bang for my buck here. But so excruciating pain to trade away a guy that you think was a foundational pillar to the team. So that was incredibly painful. I saw the haul, and that's like, all right, well, at least they didn't get railrodded like anyone on the other end of one of my trades in fantasy. So
correct.
For that part of it, I was like, oh, well, at least they got something. The Quinnen one, again, more in Jets fan land. There was more expectation that there was a chance he could be moved. So, and we found out how unhappy he was. So that one made sense. But yeah, the Sauce one was absolutely gut wrenching. And to see him in Germany at 9:30 this Sunday, and he's been cleared for concussion protocol, that's going to be weird to see him running out in blue and white and inevitably getting a pick 6 or something for the Colts. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice to see that Chris Ballard held off on announcing that until after the Nick Mangold,
thank you.
Which was a cool thing across the board. I often get annoyed when it's very clearly a PR release for these teams, but I think that's one of those that I would like to give credit for people doing
100%.
Normal people things, right? So that was good. The overall trade deadline itself, to me, it was really frustrating because when I had saw that Sauce Gardner trade come in and then subsequently Quinnen Williams coming, I remember turning to my wife, we're having lunch at the time, be like, all right, great. This thing that I've been talking about now for a month, that Isaiah Davis, go ahead and pick him up on waiver. This is assured, right? Because no way would a team choose to trade away their 2 significant assets. And, oh, by the way, a 1-7 team, which will likely need to add pieces in free agency. There's no way they'll make this decision to go on, which we could debate the merits of on a different show, whatever. This is not did the Jets do the right thing organizationally? This is a fantasy football show, but no way do you make those moves and then hold on to the one thing that shouldn't be tacked onto the wall at all in Breece Hall. And there were multiple people that were invested in him or interested in acquiring Breece Hall. Even if it was for a 4th round pick, who cares? What is the point of holding on to him? I do not understand, and I am biased again because I've been talking about Isaiah Davis as a guy that I've been pounding the table for the past 3 weeks prior, saying the Jets have to trade him. They'd be stupid not to. Now you enter a situation where you either franchise tag him and then try to pull off a trade, even though he'll be in the upward range of $12 to $13 million, or B, let Breece Hall sign somewhere else, and maybe if you finagle the cap situation just the right way, get a 4th round compensatory or 3rd round compensatory pick from it in a year from now. That is the worst decision they possibly could have made when you committed to these other things, trading Sauce and Quinnen Williams. So I was really frustrated that the Jets made this decision. Now, we had talked about this on the Waiver podcast Monday on RotoWire. You can listen to it anywhere. Obviously, Breece Hall could have a hamstring injury that affects him now for the next 6 weeks prior. That would be the smart thing to do from a financial perspective. And Isaiah Davis is still a pickup. But at this point right now, with the information we have, that couldn't have fallen flatter on its face, at least my call. And I'm super annoyed because a super inept team made one of the dumbest decisions that I can recall in recent memory.
Wait a second here. Let's direct our anger. Anger should be happening, but let's direct the anger at the right thing. And apparently this has now been confirmed by 2 sources, SNY and ESPN. The Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, they came to the Jets and said, hey, we've got a 4th with your name on it. They're like, well, that's nice. If you've got a 3rd with our name on it, he's all yours. And the Chiefs go, we'd give you a 4th. And the Jets are like, well, we're only taking a 3rd. And then they stare at each other. And when one side or the other thinks, well, obviously they're going to bend the knee to us. And this is just a game. And then the trade deadline passes. And then, I guess it wasn't. So blame the Chiefs, who, by the way, this third guy on the screen, let me not make Lerch a third wheel here. I'd love to include him. The Chiefs at one point gave up a third-round pick for Kadarius Toney. But, the third round for Breece Hall. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the Jets' fault for asking for too much for a fourth that's probably a fifth because they're always in the playoffs every year. So screw you, Joe Bartel. Get angry at the Chiefs, not us, not the Jets. Get the cheapskate bastards. We're doing enough. What the hell is the difference between a fourth and a third? You have Patrick Mahomes. You're going to win like every Super Bowl for the rest of the time. Who gives a flying hoot what you do with a third or a fourth round pick? Maybe just give that up and stop being cheap, huh? And then maybe Breece Hall will be on your team. So all this anger at the Jets. You're holding Breece Hall hostage. Oh, you're so sick. Well, sorry, Chiefs. You should have given up the pick then, huh?
You good now?
Good
You feeling better about that? Your team should have taken for a seventh. I mean, it is the most moronic decision I've seen a team make in recent memory. Who, if you have now made it so you can't sign free agents or consequential ones because you want to play a pissing game with the Chiefs and lost. For what reason, I don't know.
We've got $100 million cap space next year. So
now you're going to forfeit the comp pick because you're going to spend the money because your team stinks.
There's no comp pick. Franchise tag. He's staying. Now I'm stubborn bastard. Breece Hall wanted out. Sorry.
That might be true.
You're stuck here.
Would the only out on this, Joe, would the only other side of this be that if they did sign Hall to an extension, they did sign him to a deal, a 3-year deal or something? Would that?
Yeah. I mean, that would be the smart choice. That the Jets have entered the spot where you're going to piss off your franchise running back anyhow was dumb to me because I think Breece Hall is one of the more talented running backs in the entire league. If the decision was, we just really like Breece Hall, he's going to be a part of our future, we're going to keep him. The Braylon Allens and Isaiah Davises, they're all whatever it is, it's depth. Fine. We haven't heard that language at all. That hasn't been the conversation since July. That hasn't been the conversation end of August. That hasn't been the conversation here in November as well, too. It has not been anything like, we really want Breece Hall in the building. It was, we didn't get enough from the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Like that isn't, it's just the wrong way to do things. And yeah, it hurts me fantasy wise. It's the wrong way to do things. To circle back to the original point, Jacoby Myers and Rashid Shaheed. I had joked in our chat in the Champs League about Jacoby Myers. I'd be very surprised if he ends up being a fantasy factor. I really would. I know that Travis Hunter is on injured reserve. Danny Brown suffered a concussion last week, but evidently might be able to play this week, which is kind of surprising. Parker Washington has been Trevor Lawrence's preferred target. And while Jacoby Myers might make the Jacksonville Jaguars offense better, fantasy-wise, he takes a hit. Now, the Raiders were already making him effectively obsolete anyway, so you could just say it's a marginal difference. But for a guy that I consider dropping into a few leagues, might have actually been considering him in Champs League, I don't feel like his value rises significantly. And Rashid Shaheed was quietly a PPR darling, getting at least 6 targets in every game this season for the Saints. The speed aspect is why Shaheed's going to make the Seahawks offense better, but he's not going to get the volume that he was getting the Saints, and I think he takes a dip too.
All right, let's go to the thing last night where I'm like, what the? What's it? Tyler Lockett is a thing? That
I know.
old bastard came off the couch. I just keep saying, Geno Smith completes a pass. Tyler Lockett. I'm like, Tyler Lockett? What the? And then just Tyler Lockett. Yeah, and freaking, here's the stats from yesterday. 5 catches for 44 yards. That led the Raiders in both receiving yards and catches.
And where were the targets for Brock Bowers, who put up 40 fantasy?
He had 3 targets,
not
1
all
catch
about
for
him. I mean,
31
wow,
yards.
that was a very strange game. I'm very thankful because I'm playing against Brock Bowers.
No,
I was like, what?
So is Tyler Lockett a real thing? Is that something we overlooked? The Seattle thing, Geno, Pete Carroll. Because I haven't heard, and maybe I totally missed this. It's totally possible with all the trade deadline crap that I missed. Was Tyler Lockett your waiver wire article when he got scooped up? Was that like a hot thing that people were all clamoring for? Because I didn't see that initially. So to me, it's like an oversight. Like, damn, I guess we didn't see this.
Yeah, this is his second week on the Raiders. So he signed the week prior. He was let go by the Titans. Lockett had asked to be let go. He was let go by the Titans and then signs with the Raiders. We can get upset about the Breece Hall part of things, and I think it's rightfully so. Your Jets are a moronic franchise. They have been for past 2 decades now plus, right? They're really stupid. That's what we come to expect from them. The Raiders are the same way. What is the purpose of a 33-year-old Tyler Lockett absorbing snap counts in the slot over the guy who took in the 2nd round and Jack Besh and over the 4th round Deontay Thornton? I have to think that at some point, the rookie 2nd round pick, in particular Besh, who had the bad holding call and brings back a long Genty run. I don't think it matters anyway, but that was pointed out on the broadcast a bunch yesterday. I would have to imagine Besh at some point gets more involved. Am I picking up Tyler Lockett for the foreseeable future? No, but until the Raiders choose to do a smart thing, he is in the PPR conversation. He's going to see somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 targets per game. until the Raiders do the smart thing. And you can ask yourself, at what point in the past decade have they done anything smart? The answer is nothing. So maybe Tyler Lockett just is going to be a guy all year that you can look at and be like, well, if I need 10 points, I might be able to get that from him.
Yeah, give you that floor that you need. Joe, a lot of times in fantasy, we talk about slam spots, spots where you've just got the right matchup for a running back and for a receiver. I wonder if you've taken a peek at it this week. Are there any slam spots for anybody that you're like, well, right, man, if you have this guy, you could get a big week?
Yeah, I actually think it's the Bears-Giants game. Unironically, I'm not trying to do it just for the homerism here. I'm anticipating a ton of points down. Vegas is not. I thought, curiously, after watching a 47-42 game with the Bears and Bengals, that Vegas would be like, all right, here's the highest total of the entire NFL season. Here's like 53 points. It's only at 47, which is still a completely high number. I think it's more so due to the lack of perceived weapons that the Giants have, which is fair. The Bears defense is just atrocious, and they're missing a ton of guys as well, too. I think Jackson Dart is not as good of a quarterback. I want to be clear with this. Not as good of a quarterback as Joe Flacco is right now. Jackson Dart is more than capable of taking advantage of this defense. Even if the Bears try to keep him within the pocket, I think there's going to be explosive plays, whether it be to Theo Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson. I bet you Jalen Hyatt gets an opportunity for a touchdown as well, too, on a deep throw. Like, I think there's going to be points aplenty. And reverse, it's inexplicable. I benched Drake London for a Dunze this past week, and that cost me the league. It probably will cost me a playoff spot as well, too. I have no idea why a Dunze got 0 in a game in which 47 happened. I know that hurts you, Lerch, but I have a lot of confidence that DJ Moore and a Dunze and both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai are probably in place, too. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game.
Jesus Christ. Drake London for Roma, don't say. And Drake London, of course, for those who missed it last week, had 3 touchdowns, and Roma Dunze, a big old fat goose egg. Gee, fantasy is such a cruel beast, man. It's such a cruel beast.
I'll jump over to the comments because there was one here early. Let me just go back and grab it. Yes. You talk about cruel. I mean, we've had a lot of close battles, but Jamie, the FedEx guy, how about this one? Joe, I squeaked out one last week by 0.14.
Yeah,
boy, did Jamie need that one badly.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. It also prompted me to look at my record in the Champions League right now at 4-5. I'm theoretically in risk of not being there next year. I have lost 4 games this season by combined 17 points.
Oh my God.
What did I do? I mean, I have been with you guys for 8 years now. Yeah, I come on dutifully every Friday. I try not to make fun of your stupid teams all that often. I sit here and take abuse on Brandon Aubrey and trading Broncos defenses. What did I do to the fantasy gods to deserve every single flex sort of situation that I lose every one of them? I should be a team that's right up there with both of you in the standings, and I'm sooner closer to Jamie, where we could both be twiddling our thumbs watching you guys have stakes somewhere else next August. So, like, I don't understand why that has to keep happening to me exclusively, but it is without a doubt always the consistent thing, if nothing else. So yeah, that did bring a sad moment for me to realize I've lost 4 games by combined 17 points this season.
So, Joe, what do you do with that information, right?
Get pissed.
Jamie,
sorry. Oh.
Yeah, I guess so. Does Jamie just go, thank you, gods? Because, like, they graced me with favor this week because it's all random who you play on a given week, which obviously leads to all that. Do you just thank the gods and move on? How else do you, like, if you, on either side, right? You just barely win or you just barely lose and there's nothing you can do. You're just strapped in a psycho vest as you're watching all this. Like, what happens?
Well, I think it's different for me because I play in so many leagues. And there's been a few that's evened out. Now, there's one league where I think I'm like 6-3, but I have the 3rd fewest points scored. Well, of course, in that league, record doesn't matter. It actually is total points. So it doesn't like it feels like it's a monkey paw curl where even in those scenarios, I don't even come out top. So I think it's just the reason we like fantasy football. And this is a Joe Bartel issue, is I struggle when people are touting themselves as really good at fantasy when they're not aware of the luck that is being played in it. Or like, I have a great record. I only have the 4th most points scored in the league or whatever, but I have the fewest points scored against me, right? I wonder why you have a great record, right? So like that stuff, I push back at the people who have those personalities, but so long as everyone's kind of acknowledging that it is just the luck of the draw, except when you're going against me, that's a guaranteed win for you. Then I think it's kind of just how we kind of move past things.
Gosh, I'd rather be lucky than good in fantasy any day. Today's broadcast with Joe Bartel from RotoWire is brought to you by our friends at Crest Cadillac. Let's take 30 seconds to learn a little bit more about our friends from Crest.
Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles, exclusively available in Central New York at your participating Cadillac dealer, Crest Cadillac. Each one must meet high standards and receives a 172-point inspection, along with a 1-year unlimited mile warranty after the original warranty expires. Come into Crest Cadillac in Syracuse today for exceptional offers on Cadillac certified pre-owned models. CrestCadillac.com.
All right, we are back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to pop that subscribe button right now. You get in as one of our first 500 subscribers. You can win, I'm reaching for it, this wonderful, beautiful, brand new golf driver, courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports, one of our loyal sponsors. It's a Highbore XL, and if I take off the head cover, you will see it is still wrapped in plastic. This baby has not been touched, has not been hit. Fully adjustable. You see it right here on the shaft. So get in essentially on the lottery. You got a 1 in 500 chance. I mean, why the heck wouldn't you? And maybe bring along some friends, and then you get better than a 1 in 500 chance. All right, so we're going to be giving this away soon, hopefully before the Christmas holidays. The faster we race to 500 subscribers, the better. And we thank every one of you who have already subscribed and are out in our audience right now or watch this video later. Thank you so much for being part of our little community. We've only been out here 4 months, and we're very, very glad to have you and be here presenting content to you each and every week. Go ahead, Boy Green.
Yeah, and the only thing I was going to add to that is, again, it's free to subscribe. For those who don't know, they hear the word subscribe and like, geez, I'm in for a 12-month package on this, that, or the other. No, absolutely free, FREE. So again, that's youtube.com/MC Show Digital. If you're watching the show on any other platform, could be my YouTube, could be my Twitter, could be through the Facebook portal. Again, just make sure you subscribe here at this channel to have a chance. First 500 subscribers are in on that action. All right, let me throw a quick one over to you, Joe. Is it, safe for some of these players to dump them, right? Jaden Daniels, that was disgusting, but the Washington team is maybe, and I'm like, maybe. And I'm like, so, some of those people that have him and they have IR spots can maybe just plug him in there. But if he's just going to be out for the season, you could use that IR spot for something else. So let me start off with a guy like Jaden Daniels. Do you just cut him?
That's a great question. I think the language for this has been really interesting. They're not putting Jaden Daniels on injured reserve yet. That's been the latest report as of, I think, an hour ago, either from Rappaport or Schefter. And I do think the end yet is doing the heavy lifting here. Like, the Commanders are arguably out of the playoff contention anyway. The NFC's pretty deep. There's going to be a lot of teams I think are in that 10, 7, 9, 8 range. And unless the Commanders, with a difficult schedule upcoming, go on a pretty insane run with their backup quarterback, not to mention down to third string receiver, depending on what you think of the stats and injury stats of Deebo Samuel, that's just a lot to ask for. It's been a lot of injuries this year. Now, you could argue the Commanders put themselves in that position by being one of the oldest teams in the NFL. The acquisitions they made this offseason with Marshawn Lattimore acquiring Deebo Samuel only made them older. Larry Tunsil as well, too. But it has been unfortunate. I don't know if I'm ready to quite drop Jaden Daniels yet, but I am comfortable saying if it's debating between something and something, for example, would you drop Chris Godwin or Jaden Daniels? I'm ready to drop Chris Godwin at this point in a few different leagues. He's going to be out till at least it sounds like early December, if not late November. Those scenarios make sense, and there will be probably more, unfortunately, coming with a few more injuries that we keep having. So I think I would hold on to Daniels if it makes sense to, but I don't have any issue dropping him because I don't think the Commanders are going to be in a position to want to bring him back.
Two more quickies on injured guys. What do you do with them? Joe Mixon, is he cutty? Do you cut him, or you just keep cryogenically storing his body in your freezer?
Yeah. So I was pretty privileged to go to the Fantasy Sports Expo, which is a really cool thing. If you guys are interested in fantasy sports, it's normally done at the end of July. It's actually at the NFL Hall of Fame, normally a 2-day event or really kind of just like a Sunday weekend. And they had, and I forget the people now, and I'm upset about this. They had some injury experts on, or guys that study that stuff. And one of them or both of them were supposedly shown some of Joe Mixon's medical reports, or they were aware of medical information. And they had said, if this is true, we have no idea if it's true. We can't confirm if it's true. If this is true, Mixon probably isn't playing this season. And that the Texans have been mum basically the whole entire offseason about this. I thought it was very curious that Nick Chubb and his team decided to sign with the Texans as opposed to the Bears or somebody else like that. To me, I don't think Joe Mixon plays the rest of the year. And the Texans being what they have been right now with the very little information released, I think it's very safe to go ahead and drop Mixon.
And one last name here, and then we'll go back to you, Lerch. Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, that was one during the fantasy draft process. Yeah. A lot of us are like, we're playing the long game, baby. I'm gonna store him in an IR spot, and I'm gonna look like a genius for taking him in this random spot, and I'm just gonna unleash him in this 49ers offense. But Bueller, still no Brandon Ayuk. Is it time to dump him?
Yeah, I think I have him on my team. I was one of those that thought was going to be able to get him back at some point. I have him on the best ball leagues as well, too. If you can stash him on IR, I think it's fine. if the Niners are bringing back Brandon Ayuk at this point, he has to be 100% healthy, because why would you choose to bring it back otherwise? So if he's not 100% healthy, if he's not able to play right away when he comes out there, and I think like consequentially, not let's do 15, 20 snaps for the first 2 weeks afterwards, then I don't understand the purpose of bringing back him all this season. So I would assume Ayuk is one of those that you can hold on. Like if I'm ranking it, I probably have Ayuk over Jaden Daniels and both over Joe Mixon, but it's been a frustrating spot. I think once again, we got hoodwinked by the Niners with the lack of information, or the information we were giving in August. And if we talk about things we'll react to next year, I will not trust the 49ers in any sort of capacity with any sort of injuries. And it will make a decision if I'm like close on, let's just say Ricky Pearsall or Matthew Golden next year, whatever that equivalency is. I'm going to be leaning outside of having these 49ers on my team because I don't want to keep dealing with this anymore.
Talking with Joe Bartel, RotoWire.com. It's our fantasy segment. We do this live every Friday at 10:30. Now is the time if you want to get in the comments and ask Joe a start, sit, a trade question, something regarding the waivers. Now's the time to do it. Jump in the comments. PG, I'm going to jump to the top of the comments and kind of work my way down. Okay. So if you want to tandem this with me, you can. First one out of the box here is a little comment from Bad Show, who said, I started that the Titans receiver DK you suggested, and he ended up having a punt return touchdown. Joe, did you have that on your bingo card?
No, I did not. And actually, DK has been one of those that if you play in leagues where you have return yardage, people have been pounding the table far more than I did. I started DK in one of my leagues where I desperately needed some sort of production. I'm like, you got 0 catches here or whatever it was, like 1 target. This is crazy. How do you get 7 points? Oh, it was a punt return touchdown. And he has been very good at that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Titans want to have on the field more. I'm a little bit nervous, at least for this week and a few more weeks moving forward. You would have thought that DK would get more involved. I thought as the weeks progressed that we had this backslide after 2 weeks where he ended up getting a lot of targets was a little bit concerning to me in a matchup where the Titans were actually competitive and in the game. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, DK is a very good returner. That's why he's on the field, and hopefully he'll give us at least floors of that kind of ilk in the future.
That'd be great. Let me go to this. This isn't a question. NY Jets, always a good show. Oh, wait, Alex Trebek. What is always a good show? And thank you, NY Jets, for sending that in. But let's get it in. We actually do have a real question here, but thank you, NY Jets, for saying that. I appreciate that. Trying to put out a good product for you guys. Arthur Sojka on our YouTube channel. I offered Emeka Ibuka for Bucky Irving, and he countered with Garrett Wilson for Bucky. What should I do? I'm deep at wide receiver, short at running back. Help me out, he says.
That's interesting. I would have rather had Ibuka over Wilson rest of season, so that somebody kind of like deliberately works themselves down is fascinating. I don't mind Garrett Wilson. I actually think if and when Tyrod Taylor becomes the quarterback for the Jets, and that might happen at some point this year, they shouldn't. Again, they should just use Fields, but whatever. Then you're going to see Garrett Wilson, I think, be in the range of top 10, top 15 fantasy receiver week in and week out. Even still where he's at right now, with as little offensive movement as they can do passing, Wilson's going to get most of that volume. So I like Wilson just enough. The Bucky Irving injury situation has been very weird. And I don't know if you guys have been following that along. I have him in a few leagues. Yeah. He's been super consequential if he were to come back. We had heard every indication that he would be available after the bye, won't be playing this week. And now we're getting like tricklings of we'll have to see when he's coming back. And I think when Bucky Irving does come back, at least the schedule rest of the season, the Buccaneers is really, really promising, especially for that position. But until that happens, I mean, this is getting a little bit weird. And I would love to hear the Buccaneers give us more. Unfortunately, they have also been a team like San Francisco that has been very bad over the years. Mike Evans has had a lot of this stuff with Bruce Arians as the head coach. And I think now with this new regime too, where they don't give information when I think they really should be, at least consequentially for a few of these players.
And quick nugget for you, Arthur. Garrett Wilson is expected to return. He spoke with the media yesterday. Again, he's been off for essentially a month because of the Jets coming back from international travel, plus the bye week. It's essentially going to be a month off between football from week 6 to week 10. But he is expected to play, and we'll get a full load, it sounds like, for the week 10 game.
So maybe Garrett for Bucky isn't a bad deal. All right.
I guess I didn't answer the question. I don't mind doing that. I am nervous about what Bucky will do rest of season if he does not play again next week.
So put the risk on someone else.
It is a risky deal.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Jamie, the FedEx guy. He said, Hall's a Jet, and I love it. So unlike you, Joe, I avoided a back-to-back bye week if he was traded to the Chiefs. So Jamie didn't want that. He was trying to avoid that. That sucks. When you get a guy, all right, you acquire him, you got to sit through the bye, and then, all right, I'm going to start playing this guy now, and then he gets traded to another team who has a bye later in the season or that week, and you're like, oh, my God, back-to-back weeks, I get a big
crazy,
deal.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. That would have been pretty funny. I don't know if that's happened, actually, very often in the history of fantasy football where you have 2 consecutive bye weeks. Yeah, that'd be tough.
That's brutal. But we've also seen the other side. Sometimes someone gets traded and they have no buy, so they just play the extra game, and you're like, "Sweet, thanks, buddy." And whatever we paid attention to that on draft night meant absolutely nothing. I want to go over here to Arthur Sochka and talk about Ashton Genty hurt me last night, and so did I would suppose for Jamie the Fex guy too, who I'm playing this week. So suck it, Jamie. But what's sort of the temperature on Ashton Genty? Because he's been sort of an enigma, very strange throughout the season. We've gotten that pop where you're like, oh, that's what a lot of people drafted him for the likely scenarios of his fantasy draft output this year. What's sort of been your temperature, obviously, after seeing him last night as well?
I guess I wouldn't have thought he would hurt you because he scores the touchdown, gets a few catches, somewhere in the range of 60 total yards. He had
like 16 points, give or take. So I guess
that's actually I would be very happy about that. But I understand, late first round pick, right? You could have had Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, a lot of those guys as well too. Like he's been frustrating. Somebody had asked me earlier this week in one of the terrestrial radio shows I do that, like, what's been one of the bigger disappointments, and I kind of collectively answered the rookie running backs. I have been among many of the fantasy experts saying this was going to be one of the best rookie running back classes of all time, and we had seen a wave of running back usage, whether it be Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs, and we know the NFL is cyclical, so they want to have these guys involved, and whether it be Martin Hampton due to injury or ineffectiveness from Genty or just outright split backfields with Trayvon Henderson, RJ Harvey, or Caleb Johnson, who's just been buried in obscurity. Like, for as good of the class as I still think this is, they haven't been utilized as much in the NFL, and I don't really know why. Like, we always hear about the extracurricular stuff, and typically people refer to it as the pass blocking. Are you good at picking up those blitzes? I thought a guy like Trayvon Henderson was one of the can't miss prospects because he could do that singularly. But maybe we have to learn that what these guys are getting at the college level isn't at all appropriate to what the NFL wants them to have, and that there's going to have to be a grace period moving forward. If I'm trying to react to something or learn from the data that we have, that's my only explanation. So, that's not really an answer for Genty, but overall, I think that's kind of one of the parts that I was surprised with this season.
Yeah, I mean, we saw slow starts for Gibbs. Remember, the Lions were taking it easy with him, splitting his carries very equally, if not even giving Montgomery a little bit more.
Bijan the same way, too.
Yes, right. Algier, right.
I mean, a lot of people ripped Arthur Smith, but maybe Arthur Smith was, maybe there was something going on behind the scenes in terms of their knowledge of the playbook and so on and so forth. Oh, Joe, encourage poor Bill, the produce guy. He says, weeks like last week make me want to quit playing fantasy football. Lost 171 to 158. Poor Bill's at the bottom of the standings of the Triple C right now. He's in danger, Joe, of going down to the Quad Cities. What a fall from grace already. Matt from Auburn is sitting down there. He's got a chance to climb back out of that abyss. Bill may be headed to the abyss unless he gets a run here, finally has a good week, and he gets beat by a better team. My goodness.
Yeah, Bill and I are in the same boat. I don't have any other way to say other than I feel you, because, again, 4 losses and a combined 17 points. Fantasy football has just not been the darling that I've wanted to be, at least in this format. So it's been frustrating, and hopefully better weeks ahead. But I don't have any way to help you out, because I feel the same way.
I would tell you this, Bill, real quick, that the good news for Bill is that in most leagues, it certainly isn't in ours where Bill's probably talking about here, is that total points is the number one tiebreaker. So, I know that's probably, you prefer the win than the loss, but as you're competing with teams in our leagues, right, in incentive laden on the bottom, you want to fight your way out. Keep stacking points, and that normally is good news for you. So again, it sucks. It's all random who we play on a week-to-week basis. So this was all predetermined, but hopefully there is some level of solace there as well.
Yeah, and if Bill could get a couple of wins, BG, he would climb, because I looked at his points. I just happened to be looking at the Triple C yesterday, scouting around a little bit, seeing if there's any more trades to be had here before we get to the trade deadline. And Bill could have traded me Mike a dead as a duck Mike Evans a couple of weeks ago, but he wanted to wait it out, and then he got shafted. So I could have got screwed in that trade. But yeah, I noticed he has a lot of points, but so he's just got to get a couple of wins, and he could climb right out of that cellar very, very quickly. Hopefully he can. Hey, here's the voice on our open. That voice that you hear is this guy, Nick Lamangino. He's an old friend of mine. I call him Nicky. You're only allowed to call him Nick. All right. We grew up together. We were friends since the first grade. And he says the following: Boy Green, here's some good hope for you about the Jets. You don't think the Jets can become the Cowboys of the 90s with 2 first-round picks in 26, 1 second-round pick in 26, and 3 first-round picks in 27, and this coming from a Giants fan. Nicky, by the way, all right, was a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan when we were growing up early in our age. And when they fired Tom Landry, he was so upset. He said, I will never root for the Cowboys again, and became a Giants fan very, very early. So he started with the Cowboys, but the exit of Landry, the unceremonious exit of Landry, angered him so much because he loved the Tom Landry era that he walked away from the Cowboys, and I welcomed him in with open arms as a Giant fan.
So Herschel Walker trade for the Jets, you're saying, Nicky Lamangino.
Well, Nick's a fantastic musician, but not a historian of the NFL. Paul, when did the last time team have multiple first-round picks? Was it your Jets of recent memory that, they have not turned into that? Oh, yeah, and the last time that happened before, it was the Raiders, and they had Josh Jacobs, and then a convicted felon. So no, dumb teams will do dumb things, and the Jets, unfortunately, are one of those dumb teams. They are not the Cowboys with Jimmy Johnson, the superior coach. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Ooh, hello. Thank you, Mark York, a member for 2 months on the Boy Green channel. Appreciate that. I believe this is the first proper rebuild of my life.
I would agree with that.
Some encouragement.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, perhaps. There you go. We'll see if that is correct. I see Bad Sean here says, I've held on to Tyler Lockett in my leagues and teams for so long. And then I'm assuming that he's saying he dumped him. And then Tyler Lockett has that success that he just claims about
again, he had less than 10 PPR points. It is okay that we made that choice. I think it's all right.
Okay, there you go.
What else? I'm just combing through the comments.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Joe before we get him out of here? How about this one here?
Oh, yes.
My wide receiver is a mess. PPR 12-team league. Trade Kittle plus Kyron plus Juwan Jennings, I guess, for CD and Jaden Reed. My roster is Genty, Trey Benson, Pollard, Woody, Sutton, Ladd. You could see it. Oh my God! So
so like the Kittle part would have been a tougher part for me to trade, but when you have Oronde Gadsden as a backup, and I think if you guys missed it, Joe Alt, left tackle for the Chargers, done for the year, suffered another high ankle sprain. That's what was the catalyst initially for Gadsden being that guy, and I think rest of season is just going to get a bunch of volume. I think Gadsden actually is like in the tight end 5 or 6 range. So to move Kittle, who has the name value associated to what he'll be able to do fancy-wise to help the receiver position, I completely get. I don't really want to move Kyron Williams when it's just going to be Genty and Pollard. Like that feels like it's going to be far more frustrating. I would rather try to see if I could do Kittle and then either Sutton or even Terry McLaurin and Juwan Jennings. Like I don't think I want to give away Kyron Williams, who's right now, there's no guarantee Trey Benson comes back and is healthy and used to that Cardinals backfield, because where the Cardinals have changed, I think it's every other week, right? We thought it was going to be Michael Carter. We thought it was Mari DiMercado. We thought it was Bam Knight. All 3 of those guys have been the leader fantasy-wise for the Cardinals backfield in the past 5 weeks. It's not a guarantee Benson ends up doing that. So I would be very concerned to move Kyron Williams as part of that.
All right, let's go to another question here. Again, guys, make sure you like the video here on YouTube and also hit subscribe. Again, Joe Bartel, fantasy football guru for RotoWire.com, on for a few more minutes here to answer your guys' questions. Parker C1990s on YouTube. Hey, guys, big week here. I'm 4-5 and had Cortland Sutton play last night. Help my lineup. Darnold or Goff. I have Jameer Gibbs, Jalen Warren, Roma Dune, Cortland Sutton. Let's see. We got Loveland and Fannin on top of Munganai, QJ, Pierce at flex. What do you do?
All right, so let's go through this one by one. Darnold or Goff. I think Darnold's been awesome. Obviously, was insane last week. This is going to be a tougher matchup divisionally against the Cardinals. I think Darnold will still be fine, but we're not going to get the 40-point weeks that people might be chasing. I would rather play Jared Goff because I think the floor he gives you is very solid, and also I do think this week for the Lions, they're going to be poised for a lot of points. So I would play Goff because I think they have similar floors. Goff might even have a better ceiling. I think the flex question, Monungai, Quentin Johnston, or Alec Pierce, I certainly if DeAndre Swift is out, we'll have to find out today if that's going to be the case. But it sounds like he's going to end up be playing with DeAndre Swift will be available. I still think, again, with the amount of points that are going to be from this Giants-Bears game, that I would rather have Monungai. Quentin Johnston's been the one that has lost opportunities when the offensive line's been bad. Again, no Joe Alt for the rest of the season for the Chargers. And Alec Pierce has been very quietly a very good deep ball threat. Gets a little bit of volume in certain matchups, but I don't think he'll be this week in London. So if I'm saying one of those 3, Monungai or Quentin Johnston, to me it's Monungai even if DeAndre Swift is available.
And here was the follow-up from Parker. He says, am I crazy for wanting to sit Loveland? Obviously, he just had this 30-point week last week. I don't trust the Bears other than Munganai. I feel Njoku is a better play than Loveland if Fannin and misses.
Yeah, more importantly, if Cole Kmet is out there, that cuts into Colston Loveland's workload. Loveland had the explosion he did last week, A, because the Bengals' defense is historically bad, but also B, because Cole Kmet left midway through with a concussion. If Kmet is out, you're playing Loveland, but it sounds like Kmet might be able to play this week. So in that scenario, that's fine. I would rather have Fannin over Njoku, but if Fannin is out, then Njoku will be totally fine because the offense for the Browns can only throw 5 yards in the middle of the field. So that'll be totally fine either way. But it is in my mind, Loveland if Kmet is out, Njoku if Fannin is out, Fannin if everyone's healthy.
All right.
Well,
Here's the last one from
yes,
our boy Matt in Auburn. Wide receiver, odd man out. Olave, Diggs, DK, DJ Moore.
Yeah, great question.
I guess
And
he gets
now
3 out of this 4. So
correct,
no-
right? Yeah.
no Keyshawn Booty as well, or it sounds like for the Patriots, so that probably adds value to Stephon Diggs. I think it's DK Metcalf of that group. I'm not entirely convinced the Steelers will be all that effective against the Chargers this week. I do think the Steelers win. Maybe have a spoiler for your pick section later in the day here. But I'm a little bit worried that it just doesn't seem like Metcalf gets force fed the ball like I thought he would this year. Whereas I look at Olave, a post Shaheed trade, the way that I think Diggs will be utilized this week in particular. And again, I want as many pieces of Bears Giants as I can. I think Metcalf's the odd man out.
And I think Bartle's just still feeling salty about Boswell outscoring Metcalf in our mano matchup.
One of 4 that have been a combined loss of 17. It's been a joy in this league for sure.
Joe, as always, a joy, my friend, a joy. We'll see you again next week. Take care of yourself, buddy.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right. There he is, Joe Bartel, fantasy insider extraordinaire, RotoWire.com, our fantasy football segment. Thanks to everybody for listening. We'll see you for NFL picks in just a little bit. Take care.